I started because it was in me. Just from the age of 14, I've lived, breathed the beauty industry. And, it comes a time in life where you elevate. So I just felt that taking the call and taking the charge to move forward to education was where it's supposed to be. And God has really shown me that this is an area and platform where I can thrive.
Why not work under someone else? Why did you want to start your own business?
I've been teaching since I was 19 years old. I'm about to show my age. And I started teaching on a challenge, Shamika. I started
Really?
teaching on a challenge. Yeah, I was in the salon. I got my cosmetology license in high school, and after high school, did a little college, but I missed my hands and hair, so got my license, went back to the salon, and one of my clients dared me to go sign up because I was always explaining things to them about their hair. And I, 19 years old, took a challenge and I was not going to be beat. And I signed up and it was a setup from there. So I've been teaching literally since I was 19 years old. And that's over 20 years ago. And moving forward, I've from there teaching in a traditional classroom to teaching with manufacturers on stages. It just opened up a whole new world, and I wanted to share what I've learned from all over the world with my special group of people. And although there were other schools where it was time to shift, and that's why I decided to kind of just take a leap of faith and just go out on my own, and I'm still here 4 years later.
Did you ever have fear, first of all? And if so, how did you get past the fear?
Fear was there. I fight consistently because sometimes you're charged to do something that you've never seen before. A little fear comes in and you're like, man, I don't know how to do this. I've never seen this before. But it was a challenge. I was determined to see something I had never seen before. I was determined to move forward, and I just believed God. And I took a leap of faith. I said, if it ever go down and it don't work, one thing they'll say, she tried it, you know? And so from there, I just kept it moving.
We talked a little bit before we started the video about DCI Education Group as well as DCI Academy. Are they different entities? And if they are the same, why the different names?
Okay, so DCI Education Group is the umbrella. Under DCI Education Group, we have two schools, a freestanding specialty aesthetic school that specializes in only skincare. And then we have a school of cosmetology, which specializes in cosmetology, nails, hair, skin, all of it. And both of those schools are apprenticeship, and both of those schools they really thrived and were groundbreaking during the pandemic to offer hybrid education. We also have advanced training, and we also have other courses that does not belong in the category of beauty that we've launched, such as a specialty in business, diplomas, advanced laser training, so many other things that we have. Even rolling into medical, different things like CNA, things of that nature, that those things are starting to unfold. So we are DCI Education Group. We may have came through the door with DCI Academy under beauty, but we're bigger than that. And so everything falls under the umbrella of DCI Education Group.
So you said recently you started CNA training, and what other trainings? I'm sorry.
Yes, we're about to unfold our CNA trainings and truck driver trainings. And so we're moving rapidly into more trade trainings, things that will transfer the individual from one place into a whole nother place. All right. And we want to do it in a short amount of time. So we want to attract programs that you can get in. You can get you a new career and a new mindset, a new wealth status, and move on. It didn't take much out of your life. So we're looking at careers anywhere between 6 to 9 months of education and training.
Okay, I'm going to go a little bit into your family background. Are you from a background of entrepreneurs? If not, what were their jobs?
No. Literally, I was the first teacher. And the first, I would say, documented entrepreneur. I believe on, I want to say on both sides. So I didn't see success. That's another thing that made me want to change something for my family. I wanted to, it was a strong sense of building legacy and generational wealth. So I wanted to do something different. Previously, they're great hard workers, you know. So I get my work ethic from my aunts, my uncles, my grandparents, my mom, my dad. And so they are just as responsible for the success of anything that I have going on than me actually doing the work. So I learned first from them, how to work, building character, things of that nature.
Okay, so you took a leap to start your own as opposed to, have you ever been employed by a company, or were you, I know at 19 you were learning your
Hmm.
trade, but were you ever really employed for a long period of time?
Yes.
And you seem to have an entrepreneur spirit. So what were some of the challenges you faced, or if any, did you face any challenges being an employee with an entrepreneurial spirit? And if so, what were those challenges?
I think the entrepreneur spirit, it grew, you know, it grew. Um, I've had my own business since I was 27, but I've always made money, been able to generate money, cash flow to help my family. That's a whole nother story. Just walking into your gift at an early age, because the benefit was, of course, cash money, but the benefit at that time helped pay bills in the house. And so my whole family reaped off of the gift that I walked into at an early age. At 18, I believe, and I said, I want a real job. I want a real job. And my friend helped me get a job at Target. And I will never forget, I always encourage it. And I'm like a spokesperson for Target. Target taught me about diversity and working with other people. It taught me about leadership. So I still take a lot of those things that I learned into my entrepreneur uh, management. And I also worked for Vatterott Career College for about 7 years. I was the director of education. So I ran a whole department of cosmetology, and just taking that corporate background just really takes my business to a whole nother level. I operate differently than just an independent person who just making money right here. I think working corporately taught me how to see things in the future, and I still analyze and look at numbers and project. And so all of that brings just excellence into what I'm working on now. Whatever the vision may be and whatever business it may be, I still take a little bit from everywhere I've been to make it great.
Ah, I'm,
Did I
I'm,
answer that? Did I
yeah,
answer?
I'm just, wow, you're so amazing because to most, a lot, I wouldn't say most, but a lot of people get stuck. And there's nothing wrong if you're wanting to work for a company, there's nothing wrong with working for a company. But a lot of people will say, I have a lower level position. I'm fine not moving up. I don't want the responsibility or challenges with added responsibility. What would you say to someone who says, I don't want growth. I just want to come in, do my job, and go home?
I would I really don't have much to say to those people, and I'm gonna be really honest with you, because in order to have any form of entrepreneurship or to even be close in my circle, you got to have vision. And so if that's a person to me that does not have vision, where there's no vision, you can't do anything. You're good. You're comfortable where you are. So most of the times I did work at a school that I probably wasn't appreciated. Hey, a lot of people work at jobs where they feel like they're not appreciated. But for now, hey, I need this job. There's a job for me to do. Let me do the job. But as I do the job, let me learn as much as I can. Because when the time comes for me to go to the next level, I'm going to take everything that I've learned here and be great on the other side. So people have to sometimes sit back and say, are you really comfortable with your pay scale? Are you really comfortable with your lifestyle, with where you are going home every day and clocking out and on somebody else's clock? So I just kind of put it back into their lap and just ask them, are you really okay with life right now?
Mm-hmm.
And, and I always hear this. God gave me a vision. He gives everybody visions, but I believe the vision. And I think that what's is going to separate a lot of people is, and some people have the vision, they just sit on it. And I refuse to sit on it because I wanted to see something different for my family, my cousins, my nieces coming up. So that's just where I am. And most people that are around me are visionaries. And if they're not, they're on their way.
Okay. So how does a person separate vision from what society is telling them they need to do? Because what I see is a lot of people saying, I want to do this
Mm-hmm.
based upon what someone else is doing. Like me seeing Destiny and me saying, oh, Destiny opened up a beauty school. I don't desire to open it up, but I see her success. I see her smiling, and I want to attach myself to what she's doing because I feel it'll make me happy because she's happy. How can someone separate vision
Mm-hmm.
from wanting to attach themselves to somebody else's vision that isn't for them or isn't theirs?
It's gonna be very cookie cutter. It's gonna, like, it just draws a straight line. Is, remember, God is not gonna give you the same thing, the same vision of someone else. He wants to give you something brand new that was made just for you. And for you to desire, it's great to have that desire, but you have to go back and even you have to get your journal out. And I love to write. Is, what's my purpose? Like, what definitely is my purpose? And sometimes you got to seek that. You may get an answer now, you may get an answer in 6 months, but you got to have some patience and a notebook handy. What is my purpose? And once you know the purpose, or you can understand the purpose, there comes the plan. And sometimes you be wanting to go right, and really you're supposed to be going left, you know? And so I will always tell people, search out search out, like, literally what's for me is going to be for me. So I wouldn't desire to, just do that because somebody else is doing, but I'm mature at a point now, and it's like, what's the purpose? I made a decision this week, and it's really building on discipline, and I wanted to say, what's the purpose? But a year ago I would have just did it and took the loss. And so you have to say, what's the purpose? What's my purpose? What's my plan in life? And am I supposed to be going in this direction? And guarantee, once you get to the point of purpose, the plan will come. And if you just work the plan, success is around the corner. Let me tell you one thing. I've never had to, once I trust God on the next step, and it was almost like there were people in place, and this may help somebody. It was people in place with resources that got me to the next step. And then also it was people in place with finances that got me to the next step. So most of the time I knew the capability I had. Only thing I had to do was jump and look up. And there was somebody in place like you that you can help me to my next step. So you can't figure it all out before you start. You'll never start.
And you have to get started
And you
because
have
from what I hear from you, you started when you were 19 years old. And so you have, what I'm also gathering from you is everyone has their own journey. So
mm-hmm.
don't compare your day one to a person's year 8.
Mm.
Destiny has been doing this for quite some time, so she's in building stages.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're comparing, you'll look at her like, wow, she has a CNA school. Wow, she's doing forklifting, because she has a vision. She knows where she's wanting to go. So all of us need our own vision. But what I gather from you is also we need to write the vision and make it plain.
Definitely.
So we have to plan out the vision. Success is very deliberate and intentional. It's nothing that just happens by chance. And
It's,
you've been doing this for quite some time.
I've been doing it for quite some time, but when I tell you, I'm still learning.
Mm-hmm.
Some people like to say, they would call people boss. And I say, you know what, I'm not in I don't really like the term boss. I like leader. And so people that come aboard or have been a part of my journey, the time that I've been traveling and teaching and even building the school, we've been building something together. And also you turn around, you've been building people and other legacies and breaking other generational curses with them. So we're a family, as we continue to build. So I'm always growing, but I'm always looking for the next person that I can help build as well. And so nobody can do it by themselves. It's a collaboration to success.
Okay, so you do believe in the power of mentorship.
Yes.
I'm gonna give I'm gonna
I
give you a
advise all students. They'll say, do you want, do you think I should just get a suite, or do you think when I graduate and get licensed, should I go work for someone? Look, go work with someone and do it for free for about 6 months. And they look at me like, what? I was like, yeah, everybody needs mentorship. You need guidance. Let somebody tell you the story of how they went wrong and they don't want you to go that way. Learn business, learn things about working with people, team building. So I always advise mentorship.
okay. So what's something I'm not throwing any competitors under the bus, but what's something your business has or something your company or your business gives within your field that you feel was missing that you give that others don't?
Transparency, authenticity. We are not scared of social media. We I said we, my staff, my students, I've learned early to embrace where the people are. So you can be great and have a great resume, but people are not going to, it's not an age where people just come flock to you and knock down your door. You have to go to where the people are. And so after my first year just doing research, I said, I have to jump in and go where the people are. And my people, my students who were possible students, I had to go where the people are, and they were on Facebook. They were on IG. My people are Generation Z. They are millennials. And so I go to where people live and I place my brand smack in the middle of where they are. And so you have to see me. And I think that transparency and building trust that they can see me. Some businesses run away from social media. I run towards it.
Okay. So to a person, because of social media, a lot of people have a fear of being seen and being exposed. And what advice would you give to someone who says, I want to promote my business, but I have stage fright. I don't like talking to people, or I don't like talking online, or I don't like being in front of a camera?
Number one, you may want to get a representative. Sometimes there are representatives that can speak for you until you're ready. Number two, I had the same thing, but what helped me, I was a public speaker and I spoke on stages at trade shows all across the country.
What have you not done? You're amazing.
So I worked for these big companies and I had to teach on stage for 12 hours. But again, I had to fight because I'm literally from South Memphis. I'm literally from Fraser, South Memphis.
Yes.
So going into a conference in New York, and I'm from South Memphis, I was already, because of Tennessee in the South, deemed, you know how we're deemed country, slow, that my language was slag, that no, you can't put a mic in front of me. So I was like, I got them. What do I have that will win? My brain is a gift from God. So I would study. No, and I know they were party, but I would study. And I looked at Steve Jobs and his presentations with Apple. And it would give me comfort to walk a stage. Yes, I study Steve Jobs presentations. It would give me comfort to walk a stage. And I also studied how to speak, how to pronunciate, and so those things helped me move forward. And I think eventually it helped me on Facebook, and I'm still working on my lives, but just being transparent, be the best, show up and be you. And those people that are attracted to you, yet that tribe would be your tribe. So go forward. You don't know until you get out there. I tell everybody to go forward, and you got to talk in your mirror. Sometimes you got to talk in your mirror, but there are even coaches and mentors for that. So I always recommend YouTube University and from presentation to presentation.
Okay. So we talked a little about social media. Let's talk about emotional intelligence while utilizing social media.
Mm.
Some people, of course, we're a brand, but just maybe tips on being mindful of like how does social media impact how people are perceived if they have a brand. Let's say I just talk about random things or I put on provocative clothing. Would you have advice for someone who says this is who I am while building a brand? Like is there a limit to how far you can go? Or
I'm gonna be suggestive, and there's a right way to answer this question, and then there's what we're living in now. And so, did you know that Generation Z, in a few years, are going to be the most wealthiest group of people in the United States?
I know now.
And Generation Z are in their teens and 20s now. And so the way most millennials or even um, baby boomers, the way we would perceive things will be black and white. Well, the ones who generate the money and are the biggest consumers with the money, they really get the show. And so you will see a lot of things that are non-traditional, such as, there are some people that twerk and they have 1,000 viewers and they sell 1,000 lipsticks. You're like, what? How in the world? What? But then you have some people, I would say, whatever you don't want to be exposed or be on a share, don't do it. I tell people that all the time, or find out who you are before you go on. Like I I'm literally okay with being an open book. I'm literally okay with that. So no one can pull anything or try to shame me. And I am my business. I am my biggest brand. And so I carry that with me everywhere. Now it does not mean I take my pictures from the back. Most of the time, if I see a business owner and they're taking their pictures from the back, I'm deleting them because what's the business? And and I have digital business cards,
Right.
which means if I told you that my audience lives on social media, I don't print paper cards anymore. We just pull up IGs and we pull up Facebooks and we say, oh, follow, and we screenshot. Nice to meet you. Hey, new friend. Hey, new follower. But if I pull you up and you are private or you're blocked business wise, well, you have some internal things to get over before you're not even ready for the marketplace. So I don't even follow you or do business. I forget you. Even if you have the best product, if you're blocked and you're on private, you're not ready to make any real money in the marketplace because you're not exposing your brand to the people that want to buy.
So a digital presence is very important. I've recently started hearing about digital business cards. Previously, I hadn't heard about them. How important do you feel like they are in this day and age?
Oh, they're important. They're I feel like you have to have it because it's an identity. And it's so many people, so many followers, so many people on social media. You have to have something that says who you are really quickly and what you do, and even adding audio or video to that component. We used to do portfolios, and now you have to shorten everything down to 3 minutes and get it on TikTok or 60 seconds. It just makes you condense and with excellence be consistent in branding. You know, I would not worry about what the next person has, but it's just how you present it. That's the person that wins the prize.